Hey guys, so you want to create an ec2 instance to run Cloud9 at uindy. Here's the easiest way to do it, I think. So you go to AWS Educate and you log in. Now, since I'm an educator, my path to get to my console screen is a little different, but basically you should end up in the same place. So I'm going to pick my classroom. I'm going to choose the students I want to work with, which in this case is me, and then I'm going to go to my work area. So you should be able to navigate to a screen that looks like this. When you get here, you want to go to the AWS console. And you can click on Services and go to ec2 to create the server instance to run the code. And you can go to Cloud9, which is under Developer Tools, Cloud9, to actually work with the code, to edit it and compile it and test it. After you've clicked on those a few times, they should show up in your recent services, and you won't have to fish through this big list. You can just go over here and click, say, ec2, for example. What you need to do if you've never created an instance before is just go to Launch Instance. You want to go to the Community AMIs and search for uindy. There's a uindy Cloud9 AMI. You select that guy. You can just use the default size. You can say Review. Now you do want to edit the security group. What you want to do is add a rule to let port 9090 come in from anywhere. Okay? And that should do it. You want to create a new key pair since you don't have one handy, so we'll just call that uindy Cloud9. Okay, and download it. It should go to your downloads folder. Then you can launch the instance. Okay. Now one thing we want to do is we need to change the permissions of this guy to at least if you're on Mac or Linux, you want to change this to something that's strict enough for SSH to like. So what we'll do is say change mode 400 downloads uindy Cloud9 PEM, and that should make SSH happy. I think on Windows it's pretty forgiving. It doesn't really care that much. So let's go to view the instance. Now I had killed an instance earlier. That's this one that's labeled terminating. I'm going to go ahead and call this one Cloud9 just to give it a name, and we'll go down here and get its IP address. So then you should be able to say SSH-I, it means use the key, in downloads uindy Cloud9 PEM, and then we want to use the username ec2 user at, and then the IP address for that instance. And that should let us log in. Now my computer's complaining that it doesn't recognize that IP address. That's okay. We are pretty sure it's alright. So I'm going to say yes. And there I have it. I'm logged into my new running instance. Let's check to make sure that the Cloud9 Docker instance is running. So I'm going to say docker ps-a, and sure enough, it's running. It's been up for 18 seconds. So I'm going to use Docker to execute a new bash shell on that instance. So it's docker exec it. It's an interactive terminal. I'm going to run, the name of the process is Cloud9. And the process I want to run is bash. So this creates a bash shell running in that Docker container. Now I'm root in the Docker container. So I want to become Ubuntu. So Ubuntu is the name of the user that we're going to be running all the software as. Will be the Ubuntu user within the Docker container. So I'm going to say su-ubuntu. Okay? That means I'm going to log in as the Ubuntu user in the Docker instance. And there I have it. I'm logged into my Docker instance. I've got a workspace. Workspace is where all the C, C++, whatever program files you're using, there's a Hello World example in there. So, back to AWS. Let's switch over to Cloud9, and let's create an environment to talk to that ec2 instance. So what do we want to call it? We'll call it Cloud9. Okay. You could be more descriptive if you want to. Now, we're going to connect and run in a remote server SSH. The user is going to be Ubuntu. The host is going to be that IP address that we had before. The port is going to be 9090. Okay, and there is one advanced setting. We want the environment path to be ~/workspace. That's where the files are going to be. We're going to copy the SSH key to the keyboard. And then when we come back here, so what we're going to do is say cat right arrow or right angle bracket twice. That's that thing. It's .ssh authorized keys. Now we can simply paste the key in, enter, that enters a new line, and then Control D. Okay, just to make sure that showed up okay, we can do cat.ssh authorized keys, and it is there. So we should now be able to connect with that key through Cloud9. So I want you to hit Control D once. That logs out of the bash shell. Then hit Control D again. That logs out of the Docker container. Then hit Control D again. That exits out of the ec2 instance shell. And then hit Control D again, and that logs out of the terminal. So everything should be set up now. You can just click Next Step. Everything looks good here. Click Create Environment. If all goes according to plan, you should see the Cloud9 environment. You should get a prompt, and you're in the workspace. So that's it. You've got it. Now you've got a fully operational Cloud9 environment. You can double-click a file. You can say Run. It's going to execute. Boom. And it says Hello World, just like you'd expect. And that's all there is to it.